Welcome everybody to episode 12 of the podcast Don't Come For Me. I have a wonderful, let me give you two more, wonderful guest named LaLa. And this is a very special episode for me because I've learned a lot about spirituality, healing, affirmations, meditation, and LaLa is wonderful in this field. LaLa, please explain to the people what you do, how you do it, and I want to get into this immediately because what you do is so profound that I think it can help everybody once they really get to know about it.
Thank you, James. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Absolutely.
The wonderful, I love that. And also thank you for allowing me to come here and just share what I love, what is my passion in my life, I would say. So yes, by trade, I would say I'm a realtor. I've been doing real estate for quite some time.
Okay.
But throughout my life, there came a time where I felt I needed to change, I needed to shift. And that's when I found myself diving deep into what we would call spirituality, inner work, the other language is self-development. There's many words, right? But mainly learning about myself. And so for the past, I would say 10 years, I've been diving deep, and also I got a master's in spiritual psychology.
Nice, I like that.
Yes.
I didn't even know that, but thank you.
Yes, yes, and that was just for my own. And then since then, I've been speaking at women's engagements. I've been facilitating women's circles and doing workshops for not just women, but also for men.
Okay.
And I found myself bringing the consciousness or the self-awareness here in the office, RE/MAX Champions, and I realized that there was a great need for that. Another language that we might be familiar with is emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence,
yes. And we just did a big series on that.
We did, and that was very impactful.
Very impactful.
Yes.
We learned a lot. So once again, it's all language, but at the end of the day, it's basically going inside and becoming aware of the changes or the shifts that we would like to do, not just in spirituality, but maybe in our business, in our relationships, yes, marriage. There's so much out there, and so now I am a Reiki master.
Okay. Now explain that, Reiki master, so people know what that
yes,
means.
Yes. So aside from facilitating and also working with people one-on-one and in groups, I also decided to go into what we call Reiki. And Reiki basically is a Japanese technique that I found myself going through the program. It was something of interest to me, and basically what it is we are placing our hands on the I won't say patient, but the person that we are working through, and we're helping them activate their own nervous system or chakras, as we would be, to bring their own healing. So sometimes, talking is not easy for everybody.
That's true. To communicate nowadays is hard for everyone.
Exactly.
Right.
So what I love about Reiki and what I love about this practice is that the person can just lay down on a beautiful massage table. They relax. I bring sound healing bowls, sound vibrations. It's kind of like a meditation. You're relaxing. And then we place our hands on the body if the client is comfortable with that. If not, we just send divine energy through their body, and we activate their own nervous system to remove any blocks or any stuck energy, any stress that might be present in their body. So
it's an internal healing, almost like it would be similar to a jump start with a car. When you need to jump start and your battery goes off, you kind of give that spiritual jump start to that person's body inside.
That's yes, or like a tune-up or a reset. We would use the reset, and so for some people it's very graceful and very gentle. And that's why I loved about Reiki. And not only do we could do it like on a massage table, but we could also use that like when we do prayer, meditation. We can send this divine energy out for a higher upliftment for the world. There's we don't have to be touching near a close spot. We can send it to the other side of the world. So there's great power in that, and we all have it. It's not something that I'm special or you're special, that I could only do it.
It comes in all of us.
It's in all of us correctly. And so we help the person activate that for themselves, and then slowly we start to teach how they themselves can help self-heal.
And I think that's important that you touched on that. And one of the things that you hear now on social media, vibrating at a high vibration,
yes.
vibrating, at a high vibration,
yes.
and then the manifestation, the prayers, those different aspects. And one thing I've learned personally is that the thoughts that we carry, because it used to be just a mantra or a meme that, oh, what you think you become, but like you said, you can really get those thoughts across to someone across the world and really put them out there, because what you think will come back to you.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of people sometimes you think, like, well, why is this person always angry? Why are you always... That's because your mindset, and it generates and it flows through your body. So I want you to elaborate a little bit on how your thinking on a higher vibration can make your life better, no matter what situation you're in, and in particularly if you're in a bad situation, trying to come out of that because of what you think and you do every day.
Yes. So what happened here is there's a lot of information out there now, and there's actually now a marriage with spirituality. Back in the days, back in the 70s or 60s, they used to consider it to be voodoo, or, you know, what are you doing now? Like, keep away from me, doing the process. But now it's being more acceptable, and you hear it on the internet. We are getting more and more knowledge how, at the end of the day, we're all energy beings. And there's this thing called, and David Hawkins, there's a book on David Hawkins, and you can log in. He explains so beautifully about the vibration. So what happens is when emotions and feelings is an energy that is going through our body that we're feeling, the beautiful thing about inner work and spirituality is it brings that awareness to us through meditation, through other practices. And we can ask ourselves, okay, when I'm upset and I'm in my sadness, where am I vibrating? So the highest vibration is love and joy, and the lowest vibration is anger, resentment, you know, maybe even below that, which is regression. So you have like this bar, you know, and so what we could do is, not everybody stays up here. It would be great. That is the inner work, that we always try to be in that higher vibration frequency. It's kind of like a radio or like the internet. If you are vibrating too low, you're not going to tap into that miracle or to that manifestation that we all want, to bring what we want in our life, to open up our heart and receive that beautiful energy, because we're vibrating down here. So when you're vibrating down here in the lowest energy or frequency, or you're getting a very low Wi-Fi because you're either disconnected or you didn't connect through daily practices, or you just don't know, like, you know, a lot of us didn't know, then you're going to be stuck in that. And that's where we come in as facilitators, as speakers, as conscious healers, practitioners. We bring this awareness to those that are open and ready to receive that. And so slowly through knowledge, but mostly through experience. Like, a lot of this cannot be explained. You actually have to experience it for yourself.
And I agree with that, because I've been experiencing that. And I know for me, before I could be very emotional. I mean, emotional to where I've gone off on people. And
oh my God. I've never seen that.
And I don't want you to see it. And I've sent messages, and I've done things that I truly have regretted, and I've had to apologize for. But one thing I've learned, even from going to your class and before that, is taking the time to do breathing and to meditate and to really think about where you are in that moment and what the consequences will be with that. But I want to tap into when people talk about affirmations and they speak these different things that they want, whether it be money, whether it be good homes, family, relationship, how that truly can impact your mind and your subconscious. Can you touch on that a little bit? Because I think some people do understand and believe it, because I'm now a believer, and how that coincides with your faith. No matter what religion you are, having that faith and spirituality, if you can touch on that, I think that would help give an understanding to a lot of people so they can tap into it as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm Catholic by culture, through my family.
And I went to an all-boys Catholic school for 4 years, so I know Catholicism. So
exactly. So I had all my kids in private schools, Catholics, everything. I was a divine believer. But there was something missing there. I mean, we have heard the word, when two or more people come together, you become a mastermind. And basically that's what that is. But instead of being around other people, the meditation, the prayer is going deep into that faith, into that trust, into that divine connection, what we call, where there's no doubt in your mind that this is what you want to bring through the world, because you're very rooted and connected. You can drop down to that place where you can connect to what some of us would call the universe, spirit, God, the mother, whatever it is for us. But if we're not practicing this every day, we can get caught up in the everyday mundane, and we could be knocked off really easily.
Right.
And that's why for those of those of you who follow me, I always say pause. So whenever we're feeling triggered, that means someone touched something inside of you that really upset you. That's a sign that you need some kind of healing in that area.
Okay.
Because say someone says something to you, James, and then someone says something to me, you don't get triggered. You're like,
right,
okay, no big
reactions,
deal. Right. And I react
right.
like, oh my God, like how could they say that? That
right.
means there's some healing there. There's some inner work. So that's what it does. So knowing that through going to Santa Monica, University of Santa Monica, studying spiritual psychology, I learned how to empower myself, that I was not coming from a place of reaction, that I would be able to create that pause, that space, and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, why is that triggering me?
Right.
And so that's what the inner work, self-development or spirituality helps. So when I open my mind to this and I open up my heart and I really trusted and surrendered all those misbeliefs, all those things that I was programmed as growing up as a child, the judgments and how dare you, I was able to release that and make peace with that. Make peace with my parents, with the blaming, like, oh, you did this to me.
Right.
So instead of coming from a place of victim, I was able to empower myself and come from a place of victor.
Okay.
From that place of, wait a minute, there's something here. But if we don't give ourselves that time, that's why we say 5 minutes a day.
Right.
If we don't give ourselves that time to first start in gratitude, just for breathing, just for being alive.
Right.
That's the number one thing.
You woke up in the morning.
You woke up in the morning, you're alive, right?
Exactly.
Like you get to experience another day, however it may show up. But if we don't take the time to really stop and connect to ourselves and really be grateful for where we're at and open up ourselves for the miracles of that day, we're going to get triggered.
Right.
So however you start your morning, if we start with our phones and we didn't ground, we didn't connect to the spiritual Wi-Fi or the higher vibration Wi-Fi, there's a very good chance you're going to be triggered.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that if you did connect that you're not going to get triggered, but the response is going to be a lot different. I'm going to be able to say, okay, James said that. It bothered me, but I'm going to be able to come from a place of peace.
Right.
And response, and we could have a conversation like, James, when you said that, it really bothered me. I would appreciate if next time you say that, or this really bothered me because of this. And so now we're having a conversation versus a reaction.
And not only that, I think that's where communication comes in.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't communicate.
Right.
We assume that we understand what that person's feeling.
Exactly.
We assume that they're going to be okay. We assume that it's no big deal instead of just having that conversation like you just said, like, hey, you know what, James? Or hey, you know what, LaLa? You said this made me feel a certain type of way. Oh, wow, I would have never thought that had you not told me. And that can make things a lot easier.
Yes.
I want to touch on vibrating higher and what affirmations really mean when you say these things out loud, and how the universe can give you what you want. No matter what religion you have, it doesn't take away from that. But I want to give you an example I heard one of the ministers say one time. He said children are born and children don't know anything about religion. Exactly. However, they know enough and have enough faith that when they're on their mother's breast, if they keep pulling, that milk will come out of it.
Exactly.
And they're tapping into a universe somewhat at a younger age. So if they can do that and not know anything or speak, then we should be able to do that as well. Can you give the people an example of that? So anybody who's going through something, including myself, that I'm telling you, it helped me tremendously to learn that, and it's helping me to this day, because now instead of being, like you said, a victim, you can be a victor, because two things can't occupy the same space at the same time, and you can grow and you can build and take yourself to another level.
Yes. So I'll talk a little about that. So what you were talking about, how can we tap into that? First of all, through practices. It's a daily practice. It's a process, not an event.
Okay.
No one can give you a pill or the medicine. It does take work, and it does take a lot of awareness and commitment to self.
Okay.
to that higher self, not the little self.
I think that's key, not to cut you off. Commitment to self.
Commitment to self, to the higher self.
We give so much of ourselves to other people, whether it be family, friends, relationship, that we forget about ourselves. Please carry on, but I want to make sure we reiterate that commitment to self.
So for me, and I can only share my experience and my journey because it's different for everybody. So through my experience, what I found out about myself was that I was vibrating very low. I was in a very depressive state. I won't go into detail of what got me there because that's not the conversation, but I really wanted to make that shift wholeheartedly. Every part of my being, every cell in my body said, I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of living this way. I will do whatever it takes to shift, to see life in a higher level. And so I did the work. I did the work. I read. I went to school. So I was very committed to that practice, just like anything else. Just like, if we want to be the best realtor, the best, we are going to go full force, focused. And so for someone that is starting to tap into that, I would say, once again, we go back to that frequency, the vibration. And so we start to learn about that when things are coming up for us, it's not for us to push it down, it's for us to see it and to heal it and to release it. And so if we don't have the guidance or the practitioner, the guru or the teacher, the mentor to guide us, it's going to be very hard for us to see ourselves. And that's why it's important to work with mentors. And so I did. I had my mentors. And I was very committed to self, and I trusted. So that's the number. Every part of my being trusted that whatever's meant for me cannot be taken away. And it's for me. And I really had to trust that there's a higher power, whatever that might be, and that in order for me to connect to that higher power, I would have to practice forgiveness. And people say love, yes, but we can't get to love or to our joy until we learn to forgive first ourselves, not for what the other person did to us, but to really allow that to be healed so that we could get to the higher vibrations, emotions, and feelings. And how we get there is, what I love to do is journaling, talking, doing Reiki or sound healing, because this is going to remove the blocks. Like whatever story we're carrying, and we all have a story.
Everybody has a story to tell.
We came out of somewhere, so we have come into this world to do that inner work. And we can stay where we're at. That's fine. Like I tell people, if you're happy where you're at, and that's a blessings to you. But if you want to go higher, and you want to really tap into that joy, not so much happiness, but that higher vibration of freedom, liberation, and really being that joy of, it's not about the money, it's not about the house, it's not about the car. And I learned that because I had that, but still something was missing. So that's your soul pulling you, telling you, hey, you have gifts inside of you, but you're unable to get to those gifts because you have a whole bunch of stuff blocking you. All these beliefs, all these judgments. So like an onion, what do we have to do? We have to learn to peel those layers. But it all starts from forgiveness. At the end of the day, it's forgiveness. And as easy as it sounds, it's not. Because some of us have some very, very a lot of trauma, deep, what we call those sacred wounds. And when we start to do the work, those will come up. And once again, that's why it's important to work with someone, because when they do come up, you have to be able to have that community, what we call the sacred space, to allow you to feel. And a lot of us are not used to feeling. We want to push them down and get over it.
Suppress them.
I've been one of them.
I've done that.
And we want to do a spiritual bypass, like, oh, I'm good, just pray and I'm good. No, you have to look at what is yours, take accountability for it, and more importantly, surrender and let go through forgiveness.
I think the surrendering and let go part is difficult. Because we feel like, and I can say culturally, sometimes for African American people, we feel like if we wrong, we're going to hold that grudge. We're not going to let it go, especially for men, because if I let it go, that means I'm a punk, or I'm not as tough as I should be. And yes, to an extent, based on what happens, that is understandable, but at some point, you can't carry around that forever. You have to be able to let that go.
Yes, and like I share with a lot of the people that I work with is, we can learn two ways. We could either learn through pain and suffering, because we know that we're not liking it, it's not feeling good, and life is feeling very hard. Or we could learn to shift that and empower ourselves and learn through the healing of love and forgiveness. And so that is the invitation for people who are ready. They're tired of being tired, and that's what I experience is no matter how many books I read, no matter what people told me, I had to go down deep and look at myself, those shadows, some people call that the shadow work, those parts of me that needed healing. And it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that because we are learning to be human.
Correct.
Learning to be human means that we are making peace with those aspects of ourselves or the part of us that needs that love bomb.
That's right.
And the only person that can give it to us is ourselves. Our spouse can't give it to us, our kids can't give it to us, our boss, but we want them to give it to us. So we're like, give me, and we're both fighting for that. It's like, you're not hearing me, you're not giving me the love I need. So we're looking outside of us to get that love.
Internal with ourselves.
Internal, and that's what I call miracles.
Okay.
That's what I call miracles, because when we're able to ground ourselves and tap into that and open up ourselves, like, I don't know what this is all for, but I'm willing to see this differently.
Right.
And this is through the Course in Miracles, because I am a student of the Course. There's power in that.
Right.
There's power in that. And so now we are surrendering, not in a weak sense, but in the courage to face whatever's there head on. And it's not going to be easy.
Right.
It will be messy.
Right.
But if you have the right environment, like anything else, you're going to flourish and you're going to thrive. And the beautiful thing is you're going to tap into those beautiful gifts that we're here to share with the world.
Right.
And it all starts with that.
And people have these gifts and they don't use them. I can say for me, maybe in the last 3 or 4 months, I've been very hard on myself and saying, look, you can do this. You can make these things happen. You have to just go out there and do it. And that's been profound mentally, just like you said, for us, because it all starts within us.
Yes.
For me to just say, okay, let's go out and do it. And then once you do that, you'll see yourself becoming better and stronger and more confident.
Right.
What could you suggest for the people as far as a basic way to start with breathing methods and just different affirmations and meditations and prayers? Because for me, now every morning, I used to wake up at 5. Well, I should wake up around 5:30, and I would do my regular prayer.
Right.
So now after I do my regular prayer, I do my breathing, and then I go into my affirmations that I listen to, and then I go into meditating, and I get my day started. And when I tell you, I'm so much clearer and so much easier. I mean, things that would bother me, they don't even sweat. If I get upset with a client, I'm like, James, back away, 5 seconds, breathe. Now go after it. Where before I would just start and yelling and cussing and fussing. What would you suggest is a good starting point for people?
Yes, well, I mean, what I could share here, and once again, with the affirmations, I just want to make clear that a lot of us do the affirmations, but it's like, why am I not receiving it?
That's true.
Two things. True. One, it's not meant for you, and we have to understand that there's a higher purpose for that, and we can't see it. And number two, there's a conflict, internal conflict going on, meaning we're saying the words, but we're not believing it ourselves.
That's key right there.
That is key.
Yes.
So the practice is, I always tell people, pause and pay attention with awareness, which is the consciousness of, hey, you know, when that person said something, I got really triggered. So kind of make a mental note of that. So we're pausing. How we start our mornings is key. So whether it's prayer, meditation, whatever's right for you, start with 2 or 3 minutes a day. And it doesn't have to be the Course in Miracles or the Bible or anything. Whatever is aligned with you. We all have our way of putting ourselves into that connection, that higher spirit connection, whatever that may be. Always start with gratitude and thank you. So I always start with gratitude and thank you for this breath, thank you for this body, thank you for this health. And then we can drop into just deepening our breath, taking 3 simple breaths, inhaling in and inhaling out. We do that 3 times. And then the simplest thing we could do is go outside, take off your shoes, and connect to earth.
Okay.
Because that's going to allow us to send everything to the earth. It's very healing. Get a little bit of sun, and we can release that stuck energy. So pause, breathe, and ground.
Okay. And
definitely with gratitude. If there's any affirmation that we can say out there, because gratitude, when we step into gratitude, it's really going to open us up to receive more and to receive the miracles. But we have to be willing to do it, and we have to open up ourselves to receive it. Because the miracles are trying to get in, but we're like this.
Closed off.
Yeah, we're like this. And so it's like, you're not letting me in. Open. So that's how we can begin. 2 or 3 minutes a day, simple practices. And if anyone has any questions, you know, they can reach out to me.
Okay, good.
And I'll be more to suggest, you know, but simple practice. How we start our mornings is going to determine our day.
That's right.
If that's all we can take away from this, that's powerful.
The morning is the foundation.
The morning is the foundation.
And I want to go into a little bit more, when you talked about the affirmations, we have to be able to, like you said, to receive it and believe it. We can't say an affirmation of, oh, I want to have money or I want to have prosperity, but then you're thinking, I'm not going to have money and prosperity, because two things that we talked about earlier before the interview, two things can't occupy the same space at the same time.
Absolutely.
And you don't want those two things in your brain. You have to say, okay, this is my current situation. I want to be in this better situation and move out on that. And that's when things start to flow and become better for you.
Right. And a lot of times we're in the mind. We have to learn how to drop from our mind to our heart. And we can do that. We can just simply place our hand over our heart. And that is the invitation as well. If that's all you do this morning is allow yourself to drop from the mind to the heart and just kind of hold that heart space. That's also a beautiful practice. But yeah, it's a beautiful journey, and it brings a lot of peace, and it's powerful.
Okay. And I've seen people transform their lives from that. Me, like I said, knowing the emotional intelligence that we talked about in the beginning of the interview, and those emotions can take us to different heights. Absolutely. It can take us to different highs and different lows. And to be able to curtail those emotions with intelligence makes a big difference. If people want to get to your services or be able to use you as a mentor, how would they do something like that?
Absolutely. Well, I'm on Instagram, and I am the founder of Heart to Heart Miracles. Okay. And that is where I run my practice. So they can reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, message me, DM me. Okay. Call me. My number's there. And even if it's a simple question, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Share. I'm here to share.
That's wonderful. We're having our first session, so I'm looking forward to that. So in addition to, we had a class recently, so I want to get into that. And that class was so profound because not only did you show us the breathing methods, you showed us the thought process. You had the, what do you call the bowl again?
The sound healing bowl.
The sound healing bowl.
Sound vibration.
Yes, the sound vibration bowl. And then you gave us specific body work that could help us. Elaborate on that, and then if you're having another one, I want to let the people know so they can join to be part of that as well. Yes,
so when we had our Discovering Yourself, was the name of the workshop, we talked about tapping. I think tapping is also another powerful practice. There's many practices, and I think we went through many different practices.
We did.
Because we're all different and unique. And what works for me might not work for you. Right. So I allowed everyone to experience what felt comfortable for them. So we do plan to do another one. Okay. The intention was to host one every month. Okay. And basically it's to allow everyone to experience themselves. Right. And see what they're connected to, and it takes practice. And the other thing is to allow ourselves to become aware of what's taking place, because a lot of times our brain's just like you know, like that's like a tenet, right? The Renner, that's the ego that we call, that's that part of us that wants to distract us, all these distractions. Correct. And so we start to learn how to quiet the mind, how to drop to our heart, and that was basically what we were practicing. And so we did share many different practices so that you could embody it for yourself and then choose what felt good. Because if we do a practice that we're not comfortable with, or it doesn't align with us, it doesn't resonate, we're not going to do it.
No, not at all.
We're not going to do it. So out of that, you know, we ask people, what did you like about the class? Oh, I like the tapping. Or I like the breathing. Oh, I like the yoga practices. So as long as we're doing something, if all you do, like I said, is the gratitude and the grounding, you're on your way. Right. For a higher vibration, a higher self with a higher possibility, and to tap into that joy in the miracles that we talked about.
That makes a big difference. I would suggest that everyone goes to LaLa's page, take a look. What's your handle for the Instagram?
Oh, it's Heart to Heart Miracles.
Heart to Heart. Okay. Heart to Heart Miracles.
Heart to Heart Miracles.
Go to Heart to Heart Miracles. take a look at some of the different posts on there. You give great advice, great information, and that would help you. And if you set that foundation for the day, and that was the whole purpose of this particular episode, because I know how much it's helped me. I know how that class helped me, and I want to give that to people because people go through things every day. Absolutely. We all struggle, no matter what business, entrepreneur, regular salary, it doesn't matter. We all need that help, and if we can give that to them, that's what I want to be able to do. Absolutely. And one other thing that we talked about yesterday was special today. Today is the 16th, so elaborate on that a little bit about what the 16 represents and what that means.
Absolutely. So we didn't plan this, but today happens to be the new moon. Yes. And those of you who follow me, you know that I'm very big on the full moons and the new moons. Right. But today the beautiful thing is that new moons today is the peak of the new moon, which is in Leo energy. Right. And so this gives us an opportunity to really go in and really set the intentions. So the new moon is to plant the seeds and set the intention of what we want to bring forward. So we're releasing the past with courage and strength, but we're planting the seeds that we would like to bring forward in this new cycle of the moon. Right. And especially women, because of the cycles that we experience physically, we're very connected to that. So it's a beautiful time for us to become aware, because when we become aware, we're able to harness that energy, that power within us. We all have it. So it's a reminder. So today happens to be the new moon, and we're planting the seeds of this podcast, of this episode, of sharing and allowing people to receive.
That's right. And by the time you see it, even though it'll be after the full moon, I still want you to take that example of planting your seeds, starting over, and really letting yourself be radiant and let your light shine bright and continue to push. In whatever situation you're involved in and you're dealing with, start your day off with intention, as LaLa just said, and make the best out of it. And you'll see, it may not be overnight, but you will see by what you do and what you believe and how you think and vibrate at a higher level that you can overcome it. Yeah. And that was the purpose of it. So thank you, LaLa, so much for being my guest. And I'm looking forward to going through more practices with you. And hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.